Hello and welcome to Business Connections Live, the program for entrepreneurs, SMEs and business owners. And can we wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas. Now, we've got an absolutely cracking show lined up for you today. We're going to be going back over the past 12 months and looking at some of the great guests that we had on the programme, and I hope you're really going to enjoy it. Now, to give me a bit of a helping hand today, I've got Linda. Linda's joining me. Linda, it's lovely to have you in the studio today.
Thank you, Steve. It's good to be here.
So it's been an interesting year, hasn't it, for us? I mean, we've had some fantastic experts, some fantastic guests come in. For you, were there any real highlights, do you think?
Yeah, I think with the Brexit thread that's run through the year, some of the guests that have come in have been really interesting to try and give some advice as to what to do, even though we're not really sure exactly what's happening with Brexit.
And even when we're recording this programme, of course, we're still having problems when it comes to Brexit itself anyway, aren't we? So
frustrating and just no balance for business to know exactly where to go.
Well, let's just hope that 2019 will be better when it comes to Brexit and people do actually get some understanding about what's going on. Of course, it's been an interesting year for you with GDPR, but we'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later on in the programme. Well, as I say, we're going to be looking back at the programmes from this year. It's going to be a cracking show, as always. We've had some amazing guests, and to all our guests, can I just wish them all a very Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous 2019. So let's kick off. Let's go right back to the beginning of the year. How apt this was. Sylvia Baldock, she joined us. Now, on the programme, not only did she come in and toast the haggis, as one does at the beginning of the year, just to kick the whole proceedings off. She came in and she talked about presenting with power, passion and presence, the 3 Ps when it comes to standing on stage and really making a difference when it comes to talking to your audience. And here are the key takeaways that she mentioned on the programme.
So I'm Sylvia Baldock. I'm a professional speaker and trainer, and I love teaching people to speak with more passion, more power and more presence. And one of the keys to doing that well is to really connect with who you are at your core and bring some of yourself to the stage. You know, why do you speak about what you do? Why is it a passion of yours? Because that brings real credibility. It shows that you've been there, you've done it, and that you understand where your audience are coming from. And then craft your talk with a really clear structure. Let your audience know what you're going to be covering and what's in it for them. And I always say, think about what the audience needs first, rather than what you want to share, and satisfy that need before you satisfy your own need to shine. Have 3 clear points, have a call to action, and takeaways that are going to make a real difference to the audience. And enjoy it. If you're having fun on stage, your audience will have fun listening to you. Just enjoy.
Sylvia Baldock, and a great programme there as well. Power, passion, everything that you need to know when it comes to presenting to camera. Now, we're all off a certain age, aren't we?
Well, yes.
Well, I've just celebrated a birthday, haven't I? So another year closer to the end. But this was really interesting because it's all about preparing, wasn't it? About getting ready for your retirement. Tell us a little bit about this programme.
Well, this was Gill Mathias, and she came in to talk to us about preparing for your retirement. And one of the issues that everybody has is that they prepare financially for their retirement, but they don't really consider exactly what they're going to do when they retire. And she was suggesting that you put a plan in place. What are all the things that you've always wanted to do with your life but weren't able to because you're working? Put things together. Make sure that you've got plenty of friends surrounding you, join clubs, do all the things that you ever wanted to do. Now, Gill is a tennis player, and she's an amazing tennis player, and she just keeps going. And here's some more from Gill.
Hello, I'm Gill Mathias, and I am a psychotherapist, NLP master practitioner, a pre-retirement specialist coach and trainer. Lucky you, so you're about to retire. But now what? I'm sure that you've planned your life, at least probably financially, and with the best guidance and advice from pension consultants. But have you planned your lifestyle, retirement emotionally, and the change in your relationships? have you defined your short, medium and long-term goals? Have you planned the retirement that you want and not what others may want for you? And how about your fears and worries about self-identity and who you are? Arguably, this is the most important transition stage in your life. And do you know that only 10% of employers prepare their employees for this massive lifestyle change? Defining short, medium and long-term goals is absolutely crucial. How can you get there without a plan or a vision? How can you really enjoy a happy, active and fulfilled retirement? How can you possibly achieve this? Well, you can with my help.
You know, some really good advice there from Gill Mathias, and I hope you enjoyed the program. Don't forget, all the shows are available. If you want to, just go simply to businessconnectionslive.com. You'll find all our programs are sitting there waiting for your perusal if you wish to work your way through all the individual shows. There's something like 300 hours of great business advice online from us here at Business Connections Live. Now, a lot of us are using LinkedIn to generate new leads, new prospects for our business. Rupert Honywood joined us on the programme to talk about how we should go about doing just that. He had with him as well Alex Smith, and they gave some great advice. If you've already got a LinkedIn presence, how do you make it better? How do you grow your prospects on that particular platform? Great show once again, and we'll kick off first of all with Alex Smith.
Hello, I'm Alex Smith. I work for Integrated Marketing Bureau as a sales and a partner. The key takeaway, I suppose, is every walk of life that you go into, remember that you're speaking to actual people. So whether it's face-to-face or whether it's on a telephone or a computer, remember these people are like you, they have feelings, they have emotions. Whether that's in a sales environment or whether in a professional environment, try and think about it from someone else's point of view. Don't just answer on your kind of ideas. Think about it from someone else's point of view, how your words will have an impact on someone else, and then take that back into either a professional environment. And like I said earlier on, when it comes into sales, don't just sell something, provide a solution based upon what they're feeling. So qualify someone properly and really make sure that you're providing a solution, not just selling for your own benefit.
Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. So pick the bones out of that then, Rupert.
Well, yes,
so straight down that one then is yours.
Right, okay. Well, I can only complement that. Obviously, what I would say is stick to the three-step social selling blueprint. Remember to focus on lead generation, prospect nurturing, sales optimization. And Steve very kindly said I could give a little plug. This is a book which we produced recently on how to find potential clients on LinkedIn. I have to say Steve was a great help with this because we had previously appeared on the show. We've turned that into a transcript with a how-to guide. And basically, if anyone wants to contact us after the show, just email me at rupert@integratedmarketingbureau.com, and I'll be pleased to arrange to get one sent in the post to you.
So that was Rupert Honywood and Alex Smith. And moving on to cybersecurity, we had Dan May in the studio to talk to us about cyber and IT backup. An awful lot of companies at the moment, as you may have noticed in the news, are constantly having cyber attacks, and their stock answer whenever they're approached about it is, we take our clients' data very seriously. Well, with all of the breaches that we've had this year, I'm beginning to wonder. And an awful lot of companies are looking at it as cost. You must look at it as investment and not cost. And here's Dan May to tell you a bit more.
So I think the first thing I would ask you to think about is what is the risk to your organisation. It doesn't matter whether you're a sole trader or whether you employ 500 people, you are at risk of cybercrime. It's not going away. So it's time now to say, well, what is my organisation's approach to this? What are our risks? What data do we have and how is it being stored? What physical protection am I putting in place? And maybe you need an IT consultant or an expert to come and give you an independent audit of that. Don't just take the word of the person that happened to install it or buy it for granted. You know, sanity check that you've got the right measures in place. And then if you do nothing else, train your human firewall. Talk to staff, make them realise that they are the key holder to so much of your organisation's data, and make sure that the human processes and the human awareness is really built up to provide you with the best possible protection.
Hello, you're watching Business Connections Live. It's our Christmas edition. Steve Highland and Linda Bazant with you today. And we're just sort of guiding you through the highlights from this year's programmes. Incidentally, something that's quite important about all this is all these people are just great speakers, but they're also experts in their field as well. And if you'd like to come on the programme, then it's dead easy to do that. All you got to do is get in touch with us here at Business Connections Live. You can either email us at studio@businessconnectionslive.com, or if you wish, you can pick the phone up and give us a call on 01784 256 777. Okie dokie. Now, here's something that a lot of us do when it comes to prospecting. It kind of carries on nicely from what we were talking about earlier on there with Rupert Honywood. It's all about networking. How do you grow your prospects when you go networking? Well, there's a real expert when it comes to networking. Of course, that was Stefan Thomas, and he joined us on the programme earlier on in the year just to give us a real insight into what you should be doing and how to be more effective when you go to a networking event.
I'm really glad you asked a question in that way. Networking for everybody. Don't get hung up on the networking word. You're not going out there to achieve loads at one networking event. All you're looking to do is start conversations which you can then continue. Be more human, be more interested in the other person than trying to be interesting to them, and remember to keep on keeping in touch with people after you've met. When they reach the tipping point, when they trust you enough and when they're interested in what you buy, what you sell for them to buy, enough of them will come back.
You're watching Business Connections Live. Now, on this programme, my learned friend decided to give us a bit of an insight into general data protection regulations. What we were looking at on this particular programme, or what Linda was discussing, was where your data is coming from. What is actually happening to our data? As Linda's already mentioned, there are a lot of organisations out there, and it seems to be more of it these days. We're hearing more and more about individual breaches from large organisations. Now, I think what happened with GDPR was that when GDPR came in, everybody thought that was it. And people don't realise what's actually happening is that right now, GDPR is now taking effect, and it will continue to keep taking effect. So it is important for us all to be aware of where our data is being kept, who's looking after it, and who's responsible for it. And Linda gave us some key things to be looking at within our own organisations to make certain that we are cyber secure when it comes to data with GDPR.
I'm Linda Bazant. I'm a barrister and GDPR consultant and trainer. My website is linda@lindabazant.com. I've been talking to you today about GDPR. And one of the things that are key here is that an awful lot of businesses are burying their head in the sand and pretending it isn't happening. It is happening. It's got nothing to do with Brexit. After the 25th of May 2018, when it becomes law, it will continue to be law even after March 2019, when we leave the EU. You need to look at where your data is coming from, what you are doing with it, and who you are sharing it with. You need to make absolutely certain that your privacy notices on your website are right up to date to give the information about exactly what you're doing with the information that you collect on your websites. You need to make sure that your employees understand exactly what the implications of GDPR are, and that you have all of the appropriate training in place, that you have consent for marketing, unambiguous and explicit consent for marketing. And you also need to remember that there are some cases in which your legitimate business interest allows you to use personal data. It is a big minefield, but you do need to understand that you've already got the Data Protection Act, and you should be data protection compliant anyway. GDPR requires you to just do a lot of tweaking, and if you need help, ask someone to come and help you. You've probably done an awful lot of the work yourself already. You just need someone to get you over the finish line.
It sends a chill down everybody's back, GDPR, and I do remember at the beginning of the year we were all absolutely terrified. Do you think it's really moved on now, Linda? I mean, are people really getting their head around GDPR?
No, I think there are an awful lot of businesses that are not GDPR compliant. Some of the SMEs still aren't compliant. And also what you're seeing is that it's not just the small companies, but if the larger companies can't keep a handle on their cyber security issues, that they've got an issue as well. As I say, it's all very well saying we take our customers' data very seriously, but they don't seem to be, because that's the stock answer you get from every large organisation that has a cybersecurity problem. And what they need to know is, where is their personal data coming from? What are they doing with it? And who are they sending it to as well? That's another key issue.
All right, well, GDPR, of course, is always a big issue, and it's going to keep going on. I know you've just written an article on it as well, which we're all looking forward to seeing published in 2019. So we'll keep you abreast of that particular thing. Adding on this, so when we look at GDPR, of course, the other area of GDPR, I suppose, comes down to customer experience and customer service. And that's an important aspect of all businesses. Sometimes we look at the likes of Ryanair and we think to ourselves, well, it doesn't seem to matter what they do to their customers, they can get away. They will still fill the seats, or even feel the seats on their aircraft. But is customer experience important? Jerry Brown joined us on the programme, and his expression, I love this, when the customer wins, everybody wins. Jerry Brown on Business Connections Live.
So I'm Jerry Brown, the customer lifeguard. I am on a mission to save the world from bad customer service, and I'm trying to do it one customer at a time. But I think the point I would like to leave you with is really just to say what I just said to Steve. As an organization, as a company of any size, you do control your own destiny. You do control the ability to deliver a great customer experience. And you will probably find that if you bring this to your employees, they will absolutely engage with you. We've heard about employee experience, how important it is. If you make the point to them that this is great for everybody, that this is something that they can participate in, they're not being told they must do this and they must do that, they play an active part, it will make a huge difference. Because as we said off the top, when a customer wins, nobody loses.
Jerry Brown. Now, we had David Richards in the studio from DriveTech talking about occupational risks for drivers at work, for your fleet and so on, and how important it is to make sure that all of your drivers are properly trained, especially with regard to health and safety, and the fact that if your fleet are trained, it's a lower risk for the business in the long run. So, here's David Richards.
Good day, David.
Hi, I'm David Richards at DriveTech. We're part of the AA, the Automobile Association, and we provide fleet safety and driver safety management and driver training around the world in 95 countries and in the UK as well, and we offer speed awareness courses and other courses in the UK too. What I would say today is look at driving for work as a safety issue. And realise that if you actually put training in place, you can save costs. But there are some activities you can put in place that make it easy for you. So you can have a look at your whole company, identifying areas you need to improve through some kind of health check and survey. You can then make sure, for example, your drivers are legal by checking their licenses. If you're a small company, through the DVLA, or a larger company through a driving licence provider like ourselves. And then assess your drivers for their risk. Based on what risk they come out, then give them some training, and then manage that with all the sophistication of a professional system that can help you see your issues at your fingertips and help you in terms of what you need to do. Because if you do, you'll not only make your driver safety, but you'll save your company money as well.
You're watching the Christmas edition of Business Connections Live, and we hope you're enjoying today's program. It's the highlight show where we look back over the last 12 months at our guests who joined us here at the desk in the Business Connections Live studio. What do you do within your industry? Are you an industry expert? Would you like to position yourself as an expert? I remember when I was working in PR and marketing, one of the things I was tasked to do was to make certain that my CEO, my managing director, my senior bods within the organisation were perceived by the press as being industry experts, somebody that would be approached if a comment was needed about something that was going on in the news. That's still important today, and if you want to raise your own profile, then maybe coming on a program like this one here at Business Connections Live would be the ideal thing to do. But if you want more advice, or you need maybe a PR or a marketing agency who are going to help you through those steps to really heighten your profile, to raise your profile, to make you the industry expert that you know you are, then you should be talking to these two young ladies. Emma Tarring joined us on the program along with Aneve Hutchinson. and they were talking to us on the show about how to become an expert in your industry.
Hi, I'm Eve Hutchinson from the Marketing Matrix, and we've been talking today about how to position yourself as an expert in your industry. And there are 5 or 6 key ways to do that, particularly on your website. The first being writing in a way that shows that you understand your clients' pain points and the challenges they're facing, and that the solutions that you can provide to help them with that. The second one being to include lots of reviews and testimonials from happy clients with them explaining exactly how you've helped them. Also case studies, well-written case studies that describe the problem, the solution and the outcome will be really helpful, as will a valuable free offer which people will be able to take advantage of in exchange for an email address. Finally, an introductory product that makes it really easy to buy your services will help you out, as will including a very clear call to action so you're telling people exactly what to do next.
And Eve, thank you very much indeed. And Eve Hutchinson there with the Marketing Matrix. And now Emma, so there, she said it all there really, didn't she? But you're going to say something else and better. And so straight down that camera there, and who you are, where you're from.
Lovely. Emma Tarring from the Marketing Matrix. I think to just sum up what Eve said, people worry very much about bombarding people. You don't want to absolutely bombard people with too much information. But on the other hand, we're all busy, we all miss things. So you have to think about, we talk about touch points in marketing, bit of a jargony word, but that quite often you'll have several experiences or you'll get to know about a company in lots of different ways before you make a buying decision. So don't be nervous that just because you've emailed them doesn't mean you can't put something out on social media that they might see as well. Doesn't mean that you can't talk about it at a networking event the same people might be present at. You know, just as long as that consistency is there, that you're saying the same type of thing, you're being very consistent in what you say, that's what's going to build that relationship and build that trust, and they'll want to then do business with you.
Emma Tarring and Eve Hutchinson on Business Connections Live. Now, the media is a strange old thing, isn't it? We actually run media training here at Business Connections Live for large corporates. It can either be bespoke or it can be, well, it can be just open. So regardless, whatever your topic, whatever your subject, whatever your industry you're in, we can make certain that the training course is relevant to your organisation. But the question has got to be, what do the media want? There's probably a lot of information out there about your organisation, about your business, that you're probably not aware of. And just because you're going for a media interview, be it press, be it radio, be it television, doesn't mean that the questions that you have prepared for are the questions that are going to be asked. So what do the media want? Martin Campbell joined us on Business Connections Live.
I'm Martin Campbell. I'm a media advisor. I work with media objectives. I've got one golden rule for businesses. All the rest is important, but just remember this one. And it's not mine, it comes from Bernard Ingham, who said, never, ever say anything in any circumstances that you don't want to see in print or hear broadcast. Great advice.
So that's Martin Campbell. Now, what do you know about internet marketing? I'm a big fan of internet marketing. I think it is just so exciting that you can create an audience online, and by using appropriate tools you can build a list, and then you can market and you can sell and you can just get ideas out there. We're seeing a lot of this now with people using ongoing training. New media marketing is just an exciting place to be, isn't it?
It is, and it's trying to keep up with all of it at once, and it can be a bit of a minefield, but I think Frank Furness had all the answers.
Frank Furness certainly did have all the answers. He came on the programme, but it's once again another great show. If you've seen Frank Furness performing, did you buy something from him? I bet you did, because that's what actually happens. He is a great, great salesman, both from the stage and online as well. New media marketing. And I asked Frank, what are the key things that you need to do?
Okay, so there's a lot of things you've got to do. First thing is get that strategy in place. Get a great website, find the right kind of people to do the keyword analysis, find out what your audience want, ask them what they want, then get out there and create the social media. Create once, publish everywhere. And then the other big thing we didn't even mention was please respond to what everyone is doing. So if somebody's going to be putting comments on your YouTube, don't just leave it there, go back. Someone's going into your LinkedIn, they're putting some stuff in there, please go back again. And one last thing, Steve, I've just written an ebook, 80-page ebook on the best times to post on social media, because get up in the morning, first thing we do is look at the phone. So is that the best time to post? If anyone wants it, they can just contact me, frank@frankfurness.com, and they can get a free download, an extra bonus for the program. So this is Frank Furness. Thanks for having me on the show. It's been absolutely brilliant.
So that was Frank Furness. This is the Business Connections Live Christmas special. Moving on now to Ian Dixon, and he came in to talk about the questions that businesses ask of their customers and what the answers are going to be. Some of the answers might have changed now that things have moved on. So what are the questions that we should be asking our customers?
Hi there, my name is Ian Dixon. I am an international business speaker and business performance coach. Some takeaway tips from today is to know that the millennials are here and the millennials do think differently. So the first thing to consider is how much shorter their time span they need for their to understand what it is that you're doing. Passive buyers. We live in a world where we buy passively today, so make sure that everything is outward facing. People understand what it is that you sell. Money loves speed. Make sure that everything that represents you, you demonstrate how quickly you will deliver that product or service. The three big numbers are 7, 10, 5, 7 hours of exposure, 10 different times, 5 different ways. So don't dig one big hole, dig lots of little holes. There's my takeaways for you today.
Well, we were talking earlier on with Rupert Honywood about LinkedIn, but I can tell you that this guy really does know his onions when it comes to building an audience and building those prospects on LinkedIn. His name is Philip Calvert. Really, really interesting show. Interesting website, lots of giveaways on the program as well. Here are the key points about growing your audience on LinkedIn.
Thank you very much, Steve. Well, the key takeaways. First of all, my name is Phil Calvert. I'm a speaker and a strategist on LinkedIn, and I help businesses to get more leads, whether that's on the free version of LinkedIn or the premium version. The key takeaways that I would really recommend people do is, first of all, spend some time thinking about why are you on LinkedIn. Most people dabble around a bit and they don't really have a clear view of what they want to achieve. So spend some time on that, don't skimp on it, but write down why you're on LinkedIn and what you want to achieve. Next thing you need to do is to fully complete your profile. And that means spending possibly a couple of hours on it and regularly tweak it. Think about those keywords as well. What do you want to be known for? If someone's typing into the search box on LinkedIn, we want to make sure that you come out top of the list. So really think about that. And I think the third takeaway, really, really important, this one, is to treat LinkedIn as though you're talking to people, human beings in the real world. Don't look at LinkedIn and indeed other social media as some kind of shortcut that will do your work for you. So when you're connecting with people, always, always use their name. Always look at their profile, see if you can find something that you've got in common with them, whether it's a personal interest, maybe it's some mutual connections, maybe it's somewhere that you used to work. Refer to that always. And what I tend to find is when I personalize the message and when I refer to something that we've got in common, my acceptance rate that I get on connection requests is it's almost 100%. So those are my key takeaways, and I really hope you find them useful.
Great show there from Philip Calvert on Business Connections Live. You're a big fan of LinkedIn, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I use it every day.
Do you know the biggest mistake that I think people make, and we see it all the time, is whenever you link in with somebody, what LinkedIn comes back and it says start a conversation with them.
And people don't.
And people don't. And I think that's the biggest problem. If you're not starting a conversation, Angus Grady, I was talking to him a few weeks ago. You find his program actually on Business Connections Live. And what he says, the biggest mistake that people make with LinkedIn is that we just don't talk to anybody. We seem to be playing a numbers game with LinkedIn. We want to have loads and loads and loads of people as LinkedIn as connections, but we do nothing with it. What a waste of time. Hopefully you're not wasting your time. Do watch the program with Philip and he'll give you some good advice when it comes to growing your prospect list by using LinkedIn. Okay, where are we off to now? Steve Mills.
We're moving on to Steve Mills. So talking about growing your prospect list, he talks about online training. And so many companies now and small businesses want to look at online training for their business. And Steve talked to us about Kajabi and Teachables.
Yeah, so we work with three groups of people. People who don't have the time to do their own marketing. So everything we've been talking about today, we can help you with. We can help you by doing this for you. The second thing we do is to train and mentor you. So if you're not yet, in a position where you know and understand all this stuff, then we can work with you on an ongoing basis. And the third way is to train you. So we run workshops, be it online or in our offices in Basingstoke, or we can come to you to run workshops. So if we can help you in any way, we'd obviously love to do so. Thank you ever so much for listening, and thanks again to Steve and the team here for inviting me again onto Business Connections Live. Thank you.
You're watching the Business Connections Live Christmas wrap-up, where we look back over the year at some of the amazing guests that we've had on the programme, and our thanks to all our expert guests and speakers who came on the show over the last 12 months. Dexter Moscow joined me on the programme. Now, he's a man that you may see on television. He's done a bit of shopping telly, not unlike myself. But he's also a fantastic speaker. And he was talking about the skills and the tools that you should be using when it comes to engaging your audience. In fact, on the programme, he talked about the 3 E's.
My name is Dexter Moscow. As we said before, that is my real name. My company is Audience Dynamics, and really that is what it's all about, understanding the audience and how you relate to them. The 3 take-homes are 3 E's. In fact, there's a 4th E. But the 3 E's are this: engage with people, and that means understanding them. Enlightening them, tell them something that they don't know, something that will really be of benefit for them. And this sounds strange to say in a corporate environment, but people need to be entertained. They need to be able to buy into what we're saying. And the 4th E is to be excited. If you're not excited about what you do and how you can help people, how the hell are you going to make others excited about you?
You're watching Business Connections Live. You got anything planned for 2019? What's the big New Year's resolution for you?
Big New Year's resolution is to keep an eye on what's going on with Brexit, because that affects my business with regard to GDPR and cybersecurity. Deal or no deal. Are we still an adequate country with regard to the Information Commissioner's Office, for example? Are we still going to be regarded as adequate, or are we going to be regarded as a third country by the EU?
This could be a frightening time, isn't it, next year? So we'll keep you posted. We will have programmes, of course, as Brexit does loom on us in the early part of next year. Of course, while we're recording this, we're not quite certain exactly what is going to happen. Who will be Prime Minister? I mean, I think, place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we were just talking a moment or so ago about speaking and how to engage your audience. There was one great speaker who we had on the programme. We repeated the programme actually in 2018 in this particular year. It was Nigel Risner. And if you've ever seen Nigel Risner live, you'll know just how engaging he is. But the one question he always asks and tells his audience to do is, if you're in the room, be in the room.
My name is Nigel Risner. My business is Nigel Risner Associates, and we ask clients to turn themselves from limited to limitless. We want people to be in the room, to really model off the very best organisations that are out there, in everything they do to be passionate, take loads of action, communicate like a zookeeper, and most of all, trust themselves and trust the process. It's been an honour to be here, and thank you very much indeed.
Nigel Risner, when you're in the room, be in the room. He is the lead zookeeper, don't forget that. Now, what about the technology? We don't do very many shows when it comes to the technology that you can actually use within your business or your organisation. But Doug Piddock came on the programme and he showed a fantastic example of a camera that was perfect to put on your workbench on your desk, around your PC, near your laptop. But it didn't just take a picture of you, it was proactive in the pictures it took. It would either take one of you or of a group of people sitting around the camera. It was an amazing piece of technology, and we must thank Doug for bringing it into the studio. And here were the key takeaways from that particular programme.
The camera is called the Panacast 2. It's the second generation camera from the manufacturer. This is Altia Systems in Cupertino, California, and my company distributes the product in Europe. The reason that I started to distribute the camera is because I felt it really met a large number of needs that were not being met at the time. That is, good pictures, big picture quality in small rooms. The problem with small rooms, as we've said, is the camera field of view is designed for a much larger room. As you get closer to the camera, it loses the people in the room until you've got people talking to you from the far end and you can't even see them. So this camera overcomes that. One of the problems of having a wide field of view, a wide angle camera, you'll be familiar with the fisheye effect, where you get this barrel distortion, as it's called, around the uprights and so on, and it makes it unusable for conferencing. So what the manufacturer has done with Panacast is it's created this camera with 3 camera elements, each with a smaller field of view, and it stitches those 3 streams together inside the camera. So it's got a lot of processors in it. It's got 9 processors. They're working really hard. This is different from the old dumb light gatherer of yesteryear, which was, you know, the pan tilt zoom camera, which just gave you some video. So this is the future of cameras in meeting rooms. And this output is 4K UHD, high quality, high resolution. Why is that important? Well, you're not going to be sending that quality because most of the video conferencing systems or the video services don't support that. They will support a much lower resolution. But what that means is you can zoom in the memory with no physical movement of the camera, and the far end will see no change in the resolution as you zoom in up to 4 times. So this gives you a kind of optical zoom for free. But again, no physical moving parts, and because of that, it's very small. And it's important that it has a small footprint, because you can mount it like that underneath the bezel of a large screen, and it virtually disappears. So for those people who are intimidated or inhibited by cameras in a room, and many people still are, then it helps them because it kind of disappears in the metalwork of the display, and it's not in their face, and they can relax. And this is the key to the future of video, because it needs to remove those issues from the room. You don't need to go in and start worrying about technology. You need to go in and have your meeting, and you need to do that in an ad hoc way. And this moves that side of the video towards that experience, and changes in audio are also moving the audio away from big microphones in front of you, again intimidating, awkward, picking up scratches and noises and so on. So the video is being dealt with this. You know you're going to be in shot. And because you can put this quite close to you, it means that you're not wasting space between the camera and the table. And that is an expensive piece of real estate that you can save, and you can get more rooms in, more of these so-called huddle rooms. So they're the basic value out of the product.
So that was Doug Piddock. Moving on now to your social media content. How can you write content? What do you write? We had Nikki Creel in the studio who came in to give us some pointers with regard to that. And she was talking about not just writing new content, but repurposing your old content. And also with the point of view, if you're looking at what's happening in the papers every day, keep an eye on the news. Think about how the news items affect what's happening in your business, and write something about that and how you can help your customers.
Hello, I'm Nikki Creel. I'm a social media consultant, speaker, trainer and author. And I'm passionate about helping businesses to create content quickly, because I think at the moment that's something that people are struggling with. All you need to do is really have a strategy for it, know who your customers are, put a plan together, use the tools that are appropriate for your business that can save you tons and tons of time, schedule the content, and then spend your time doing the fun part, talking to people and engaging with your audience. So those are my top tips in a nutshell.
So that was Nikki Creel.
And a really good show it was as well. Really enjoyed that.
She's always good. She's a regular guest on the programme. She's excellent.
Absolutely fantastic. Good old Nikki. Nikki, very Merry Christmas to you. In fact, very Merry Christmas to all our guests. Now, Graham Wilson joined us on the programme. He was talking about word of mouth. Most businesses will probably agree with both Graham and myself that we get most of our work from recommendations. And that's what word of mouth is all about, going out there and people recommending you. But how do you set yourself up? How do you make certain you're in the best place to get those recommendations? And how do you make word of mouth really work for you?
Thank you. I'm Graham Wilson. Today I'm really here on behalf of word of mouth that works. Why? Well, it's important, and please go to our website and have a look, because everybody will tell you, and we all know, that word of mouth is probably the most successful way you can ever promote and grow your business. The problem we've had and we've discussed today is that people think it just happens. People think just talking does it. Well, it doesn't. And we've had over 20 years of working on this and looking at all the evidence. And there is a method, there's a process, a recipe to word of mouth, which is why I have these little chaps here, because you've got to prepare for a marathon. There's a lot of work to do to understand how to make it work for you. But if it does, and it becomes a part of your culture, it's immensely powerful. It will give you not only advocates that talk about your customers that grow, but it also will give you ideas for new products and growth, ideas that you probably wouldn't come across in any other way. So it should become a part of your marketing mix, a part of the way you do business. And we talked earlier about referrals as well, is you need to get that referral right, because if you don't control the message out there, people will make it up. So learn how to control, learn the process, and come and join us, come and have a look. We'll teach you how to do it.
Graham Wilson there on Business Connections Live. Now, it's Linda again, but not in the studio. When she came on the program, she was talking about GDPR and how it affects sales. A lot of people really getting very, very het up about what GDPR maybe was becoming. A lot of people saw GDPR as sales prevention. It meant that we were getting all those emails at that particular time of the year. If you do not sign up to my email list again, then I'll never be able to talk to you. And in fact, so many organisations and businesses just got it wrong. They didn't understand about B2B marketing. And what Linda tried to do on this particular programme was to explain the rights and the wrongs of what you should be doing with GDPR when it comes to sales.
I'm Linda Bazant. I'm a barrister and GDPR auditor, trainer and speaker. And today we've been talking about how GDPR affects your sales teams. In summary, by looking at the most common sales activities, it's possible to understand the do's and the don'ts to get your sales team GDPR ready. On cold calling, you can make phone calls, but always follow up with an email telling people the purpose of the call, what you agreed during the call, and while you're following up via an email, but making sure in your email that you've got that unsubscribe button in there, and of course the link to your privacy policy. With regard to referrals and so on, you can take on referrals, business cards and so on, but once again, contact the person. It was great to meet you. Here's what we do. Here's what I'd like to talk to you about. I'd like your permission to continue to keep sending information to you. And if you need to unsubscribe at the bottom of the email, and the privacy notice once again. Social media selling, it's a huge tool. Lots and lots of businesses are using it now. You can just create that warm lead on social media that allows you to then take it off of social media and take it onto phone calls and take it into emails, but with the consent of the person that you're talking to. And as far as businesses are concerned, CEOs, managing directors, make sure that your staff understand GDPR and that they need to be trained to understand GDPR, and it will become a culture because it affects your brand and it affects your reputation and it affects the trust that customers will have in dealing with your business.
That was a really interesting programme actually, so don't forget all those shows are available. You can go to our website at businessconnectionslive.com. Blockchain, what's that all about then? We had Troy Norcross on, didn't we?
We had Troy Norcross on, and it's very interesting because that kind of dovetails into the GDPR issues. Blockchain is a more secure way of using your data in your ledgers, so your accounting and so on, not to be confused with cryptocurrency. So Troy ran through all of the ways that you can use blockchain for your business in the future.
So when you're thinking about blockchain, if you think about it as simple as an Excel sheet that's shared with lots of different people, you can put a variety of pieces of information in that, and it's trusted because everybody has an identical copy of that. That's the first thing, that kind of what is blockchain, that you can explain to just about anybody. The second thing is the reason that DLT, distributed ledger technology, works best is across multiple distrusting parties. Because everybody has an identical copy, they don't have to trust each other, and in many cases they don't. So we say that blockchain is the platform for co-opetition. People that wouldn't normally trust each other because they're competitors are suddenly cooperating. We also talk about the fact that blockchain is for industries more than for companies. If you're building a blockchain just for yourself, you are by default centralized. And if you're centralized, you may as well just use a database. And those are the top 3 things that we at Blockchain Rookies want to help people understand, not just consumers, but also small and medium-sized and even large-sized enterprises. My name's Troy Norcross. I'm co-founder of Blockchain Rookies, and I really have appreciated being on the show today.
Now, I don't know about you, but when it comes to pricing, maybe when you're invoicing for a particular service that you provided, I think it can become very confusing and sometimes very, very difficult. So what is your pricing strategy? Mark Peacock joined us on the programme just recently, and he's got over 50 different pricing strategies. He didn't talk about all of them, but he explained quite a few of them and gave some good advice on how you can get your pricing more effective in your marketplace.
So yeah, I'm Mark Peacock and I'm the pricing coach. What I've tried to explain to you today is that pricing doesn't have to be difficult or scary. There are loads of different ways that you can think about how you price your business and your products and your services. As Warren Buffett says, pricing is the most important part of your business in terms of adding value and creating higher earnings for you. I have 50 different pricing strategies that I use. You can see that there are plenty of different ways that you could price your business and your services. And then finally, I would say if you put price at the center of your business planning and your design thinking, it will put you in a much stronger position for delivering better value for your customers and improving your profits. So if you want to know more, please go to my website, which is markpeacock.co.uk. And also on there, I'm offering a free pricing diagnostic self-assessment. So there's a form you can download and work out for yourself how good your pricing is. So please feel free to contact me via my website, and I look forward to talking to you further soon. Thank you.
That was Mark Peacock talking about pricing strategy. So then, where are we going to next?
Next, we're going to Dominic Renshaw, who came in to talk to us about Google Ads and Google AdWords and how you can use them in your business. I think an awful lot of people have been using them over the past few years, and it tailed off a bit because people were starting to get fed up with them and the click-throughs and so on. But Dominic is trying to say to you, look, have another look at Google because it's going to be really good for your business. And he gave us some tips on how to use ads, how to use AdWords, and how that can actually help you.
Dominic Renshaw, owner of AdExtra.com Limited. We are a Google advertising company. Basically, takeaways for you guys. Keywords. Keywords are the most important thing of any campaign you ever do. Have a research, use something called Google AdWords Keyword Planner. Just type in Google, you'll find it. Research keywords you want, look at which ones are the biggest traffic and go for the ones below those. Those are the ones that are going to be cheaper for you. The second one is, I told you about quality score. Make sure your keywords relate to your ads, relate to your website, whether that be a landing page or the general. That is absolutely critical. If you get those 3 things in place, you'll be 99% of the way there. There are 2 things I'm going to tell you that are the best thing to take away. So keywords, and make sure your quality score is good. Keyword, ads, landing page. Thank you very much.
Well, at the beginning of every program, we say the program is for entrepreneurs, SMEs and business owners. But what about startups? If you're a startup, what lessons can be learned? What lessons can be learned from other companies who are starting up? And is it a case of reinventing the wheel each and every time a business does start up? Or do we all have to go through the same mistakes time and time again? Claire Brumby joined me on the program. She started a business in the catering environment. And she's written a book around that. It's an interesting book to read if you are in the startup. But many of the rules, many of the things that she found while starting up her business apply to all startup businesses. Good show, and she took us through the process from zero to hero. We're Claire Brumby.
As you've already gleaned, everybody, my name is Claire Brumby and this is my book, The Winning Mix. So I'm an author, a mentor and a speaker and consultant primarily to food businesses. And I guess what I'd like to leave the viewers with today is just to say, if you are looking at starting your food journey, then, you know, do your research, look into where you would actually pitch it in the category, probably get in touch with me if you want a mentor to help you along the way. And I guess to anybody who is just, you know, stuck in that place of not knowing if they want to start a business or not. If it's something you really, really want to do and you've got that entrepreneurial drive, I would say go for it and do it.
Claire Brumby, and don't forget, if you go to her show page on businessconnectionslive.com, you'll find a link to her book as well. Now, Susan Armstrong joined us in the studio. We were talking about leadership. You've often heard the saying that the Peter principle is when somebody is promoted to the level of incompetence. It does seem that there are a lot of leaders in industry who have just got to that level in their businesses. You know, they are senior managers, they are directors, because they've been there a long time, not because of any particular skills, and sometimes they don't have the skills to be effective leaders. Susan is one of those people that goes around to organisations and she coaches and trains people to become more effective leaders.
I'm Susan Armstrong. I'm a professional speaker and international talent development expert. So I custom design training programs and seminars for organizations around the world in everything to do with leadership and people. And this issue of leadership starts with you. You actually know, each of us knows what a good leader looks like just based on our favorite boss. So we know what they did that made us want to follow them. The hard part is putting this into practice. So you can actually go to your employees or those around you and ask them, what makes you a good leader and where do you need to improve? And no, this isn't easy, and I would never tell you that this is, but we all have to start somewhere. You can also find some training, read a book, go to a workshop. None of us went to school to be a leader. None of us were taught how to do this. So if we don't know, how do we know? You know, if we don't know, we can't possibly know. So you can join a workshop, join a training program. Please, you can email me at susanarmstrongtraining@gmail.com, and that will get directly to me. So that's susanarmstrongtraining@gmail.com. I'm happy to have a conversation about workshops or seminars that might be appropriate for you. Or you can go to escapeyourinvisibleprison.com and you can sign up to download 3 free videos on developing that self-awareness and that confidence in yourself. So that's escapeyourinvisibleprison.com. We will need your email address to know where to send the videos, but you can download 3 free videos that will help you with the self-awareness piece, the confidence and communication piece.
Susan Armstrong, and how to lead like a CEO.
So now we're moving on to Darren Chapman, who came in to talk to us about cybersecurity. He was talking about all of the issues that companies have with regard to tightening up their cybersecurity. And of course, one of the things that companies can apply for is Cyber Essentials. And that's always worth having, because that's a little icon that you can have on your website to say that you've been through Cyber Essentials, you've been accredited, and that people can actually trust your business to look after their data.
So, hello, I'm Darren Chapman, and I'm from Cyberscale, and I've been talking today about cybersecurity. Here's my key takeaways. So, firstly, when you're looking at a strategy, a cybersecurity strategy for your business, and it should be a strategy, make sure that you understand what it is that you're trying to protect in your business, whether that's data, whether it's systems, whether it's both, and what the importance of those various aspects are. And how important they are to your business and to your clients and your employees. Put them front and centre of your risk assessment. put things in place based on risk, have a strategy that includes process and people, as well as technology, and have an incident response plan in place so that if something does go wrong, because you can't keep yourself protected 100%, make sure that you understand how to deal with that in advance, so that you're not running around like a headless chicken at the time that you've had a data breach or a cybersecurity incident. The way that you manage that will have a huge bearing on how well your organisation comes out of that.
Darren Chapman on Business Connections Live, and a good show it was too. Now, David Holland joined us on the programme. We were talking about all things when it comes to autoresponders. You may have heard of the likes of Aweber, MailChimp, things like that. We use Active Campaign here, and we find it very, very effective. Of course, the big daddy of them all is Infusionsoft. And David was explaining to me some of the key things that you need to remember if you're going to implement some form of automation into your business.
I'm David Holland from Acceler Limited. The real key for me is we need a tool, we need some kind of automation to take care of the marketing and the sales that are going on in the business, as well as the invoicing and the follow-up. So have a tool, then use the tool nice and simply to get started. And what we're trying to do with the marketing concept that we're discussing today is to communicate with people, communicate with human beings, and continuously communicate with human beings, adding value until they put their hands up and say, yes, please, I am interested in the conversation now. And then we just follow up with that. So develop the relationship and continuously discuss and keep the relationship going with our customers and prospects. And that's what gives us consistency. Once we've got consistency, the stress and the pressure of running a business just eases a little bit, because we know we're going to get a continuous flow of new business and money coming in at the end of the month.
David Holland, and good luck as well if you're going to be implementing some form of automation into your marketing plan in 2019. I think the whole area of automation is a fascinating area. The thing is, I think, though, that it must be so automated that it becomes nearly robotic and it loses that personal touch. But I think for the day-to-day communication, the day-to-day stuff, I think the likes of Infusionsoft, Active Campaign, MailChimp, any of those, it's a really, really good idea. And you're always continuously tickling your customers, and I think that becomes really, really important. Okay, so from automation, let's go and talk a little bit about organisational excellence. This was Paul Glynn who joined us on the programme. A really good show with Paul once again. He's always really, really good. He's part of the Sandler group as well. He's Sandler M25. And it was a 24-part plan, really, to work your way to make certain that you can assess your business. From your point of view, do you think businesses sometimes don't really look inward enough to get things right?
No, they don't. And I think what they're doing is they're always looking at the next sale, which is fine. But you need to make sure that you have got all of the structure around your business to be able to support those sales. So what Paul tried to do was to take you from at risk to excellent.
My name is Paul Glynn from Sandler Training Southern Counties. If you want your organisation to be excellent rather than just average or well run, you need to look at the 6 Ps. That's to say planning, positions, people, performetrics and passion, and work on a plan to get there. We at Sandler have identified 24 different steps, and if you'd like to follow those and reach organisational excellence, perhaps you need to contact one of us.
It's happened to us all. Death by PowerPoint. Too many bullet points on a slide. Too much writing. If you can't see this at the back, I'll read it to you. People using their slides as scripts. Is that the right way to be using PowerPoint or Keynote or any of the other presentation tools that are out there? Because that's what they are. They are presentation tools. Dave Henson joined me on the programme, and he asked a very revealing question. He said, do your slides suck?
Well, I am David Henson. I am the slide presentation man. I've been working with slides now for 32 years on and off, from the old 35mm slides in the old days right up to the modern graphics with PowerPoint and so on. It's really important that your slides reflect your message, that they're congruent with what you're saying on stage, and that they don't clash with what you're saying. In other words, don't put your script on your slides. Make sure that they reflect what you're trying to say. It's also, there's nothing wrong also with going blank, not you personally, but on your slides. So if there's a part of your presentation where you don't need to use slides, turn off. Just go black, and then the audience will concentrate on you again. In terms of what you need to know to produce slides, obviously you need to know how to use things like PowerPoint or Keynote or Prezi or whatever tool you want to use. They're all tools, by the way. I don't go in for all this kind of stuff about which one's better than the other. But also you need to know how to manipulate images, how to edit images, because images are a really important part of presenting. And I think that if you can learn how to edit images and produce good images, that's going to have a really good effect on what you produce. So yes, Dave Henson, slide presentation man, good luck with your slide presentations.
I found that such an entertaining program. It's very good. Now, earlier on, we were talking about adding automation into your organization, to your business, into your sales pipeline. And I mentioned the light of ActiveCampaign, Infusionsoft, MailChimp, and people like that. But there is a UK organization. They're called InTouch CRM. Matthew Ruddle from InTouch CRM, he joined me on the program, and we were talking about the key things you need to remember. So when you go along to a networking event, how do you follow up? And he gave some advice on that. If people contact your company, how do you follow up? What sequence is sitting there? The nice thing about InTouch CRM is it also has a sales pipeline in it as well, which really is very useful. So not only are you looking at the automation, but you're looking at the entire sales cycle. Want to find out more? Well, here are the key points from that particular program with Matthew Ruddle.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Matt Ruddle from InTouch CRM, and the key takeaways from today's show are: implement a process for your sales side as well as your customer retention side, because the moment you do that, things become measurable. You can then change it and you can get success, and you know what works and what doesn't work. So look after your new sales as well as looking after your customers, and it can make a massive difference to your business.
Can we wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I hope 2019 is going to be very, very prosperous for you. Don't forget, if you'd like to elevate your position in the psyche of your industry that you work in, why don't you get in touch with us here at Business Connections Live? Become an expert. Be on the show. Let me interview you. Find out what you're really made of. That would be fantastic. If you'd like more details, you can drop us an email to studio@businessconnectionslive.com or give us a call on 01784 256 777. But do it in the new year. Tell you what, have Christmas off, relax a bit, and just take it a little bit easy. Now, the next programme was a really fascinating show. It was the weekend that Theresa May had come back from Brussels, hopefully carrying a basket of goodies from the European Commission. But it wasn't going to be the case.
Unfortunately not. So we had Paul Mayhew on the programme talking about your supply chain and how you needed to prepare for either a no-deal Brexit, or even if we do get the deal through and there's a transition period, how you need to prepare and get everything ready for all of your supply chain in your business.
So I'm Paul Mayhew. I run Wyndham Solutions, and it's all about Brexit supply chain. I think the critical thing, and the message I've been trying to get over today, is try and be as prepared as you can for all the various scenarios that are coming towards you. We don't yet know if it's going to be a no deal, if it's going to be hard, soft, whatever it may turn out to be. There are things your organisation should and could be doing to prepare yourselves, understand your own company's position, what your exposures are and what your opportunities are. Don't forget, Brexit is also an opportunity. It's not all about bad news. It's about how you move ahead of the competition. And I greatly believe if you do some of the things that I'm talking about, you can actually be more advanced than your competitor, win business out of this, and open up new horizons for your organisation. So please reach out, talk about Brexit, and let's work together to move you forward.
Honestly, what is going to come out of all of this, we really don't know. 2019, I think, is going to be a pivotal year here in the United Kingdom. But we've got to remember, we are the 5th largest economy. And I know sometimes it can be very easy to be on a program like this and to be somewhat maybe patronising a little bit. But, you know, we've got to look at this positively. What will be, and it does seem to be very much out of our hands. And I do sometimes ask myself the question that if we were to have a people's referendum again, are we not now just in a situation where we're just trying to get an alternative answer? It's going to cause the same problems. Anyway, time will tell. Let's move on now to Sarah Alexander. Poor old Theresa May, I would imagine, is particularly stressed. We all get stressed at work, but how do you manage that stress? And can stress in the workplace sometimes be good for you?
I'm Sarah Alexander. My business is Coaching Magnificence, and I'm based in Godalming in Surrey, working with business owners, senior directors and their teams to help them manage stress and be more productive. And my first takeaway is to really take control of your time. What things in your schedule can you influence so that you have just a little feeling of greater control of your schedule and your time? Take control of your energy by eating well, exercising, and also take control of your mind by being aware of what's going on in your mind, the negative self-talk you might have, perhaps some negative beliefs you might be holding about yourself and your own ability, and flip them round into something positive. And I would say be mindful of the fact that you cannot work hard and fast all day. You can work for 90 minutes productively and effectively, but then both you and your prefrontal cortex, that thinking, logical part of your brain, need 15-20 minutes of recovery time to then come back and do another 90 minutes of effective working. And I think my last point is to really establish as many positive routines as you can. The part of our brain that stores our routines is called the basal ganglia. And the more we can have good routines established and something that we do every day without focusing, without thinking about them, without having to make ourselves do them, the easier our life becomes. And very often the difference between successful people and those that are less successful is successful people just have a host of really good routines that support their success.
Really interesting program when it comes to stress. I mean, that is something. I mean, we all suffer from it, don't we? This build-up of stress. I suppose if we take a step back.
And that's the key, taking that step back. You're hearing an awful lot in the newspapers at the moment about the number of people that are sending you emails on a Sunday evening when you're starting work on a Monday morning. And so many companies now are saying to their employees, stop on a Friday evening. That's when you stop. No emails over the weekend. You've got plenty of time to do that when you come in on Monday. And I think more people need to take control of their lives and realise that they have a life. It isn't all about work.
Actually, she's very good at that. If you try to email Linda over the weekend, if you're lucky, if she answers her phone, actually. So there we are. All right, then. Let's get stressed for a moment, shall we, on Google AdWords. We can do that. Google Ads. What should you be doing with those? And are you Google ready? Are you Google friendly? Are you SEO'd for Google at the moment? Pretty important place to be, actually. This was a good show. It was Rupert Honywood who joined me on the program, and he asked the question, are you Google fit for business?
My name's Relton Associates. We do digital marketing and branding, strategy and implementation. Key takeaways on this one is HTTPS, make sure you've got it. Make sure your site speed is good. Make sure your website can be viewed on mobile, and make sure you're writing good quality content. And when I say quality content, I mean good content for the people who are visiting your site. Is it useful? Does it help them? And in a really nice, easy, digestible way.
That was Rupert Honywood and asking the question, are you Google fit for business? Listen, it's been our pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed today's roundup of some of our excellent guests that we've had over the year. Can we just thank all our guests from the bottom of our bottoms to the tops of our tops. A very big thank you for coming on the programme. It's been really been an insightful year, hasn't it?
It has, a topsy-turvy year, but we've had a lot of very good experts on the programme.
Yep, and we've got more programmes lined up for you in 2019. We look forward to your company each and every Monday, or when we broadcast it. Don't forget, the shows are all available 24/7, round the clock, and all you've got to do is go to our website at businessconnectionslive.com. But from myself, Steve Hyland,
and Linda Bazant,
can we just wish you a very, very Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous 2019.